On today's Solo Saturday News, what WWE really thought of Andrade has been revealed. The first Andrade post-WWE appearance has been confirmed. We've got the real reason why WWE didn't allow press at the WrestleMania 43 announcement. And a former WWE World Champion will return very soon. Hi everyone, I am Gareth. You are watching WhatCulture Wrestling on this fantastic Saturday morning or afternoon or evening. It depends where you're watching this around the world, doesn't it, right now? But I'm here. I'm on my own because Phil is off doing things, living his life, and just doing what Phil does every now and again on a Saturday, just leaving this poor soul alone to talk about wrestling. But there is a lot of wrestling to speak about. That's what we need to do, isn't it, on these kind of videos? So we'll do it. Let's just jump straight in with the first big story. Which is, it's obviously like the Observer drops on a Friday, so we always get a lot of kind of like interesting nuggets to kind of consume, let's say, and this is one of the more interesting ones that drops out of this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter from Dave Meltzer, and it's all to do about Andrade, and it's obviously that was like a major story. I think it was last week. Yeah, time is just blurring together now. That he was released from WWE, and there's been a lot of like talk about why and like the things that were going on behind the scenes. We've done loads of videos on them, so if you want to dive back into that and kind of get yourself back up to date, if you're not already, before you look into this bit, you can do that. But if not, we'll just plug back in. In the Observer, Meltzer does one of his typical massive kind of written rant things where he goes into a lot of detail on Andrade, but one of the most interesting parts of it is, well, the following. He talks about the fact that he obviously worked WrestleMania in 2024. He teamed with Rey Mysterio to take on Dominic Mysterio and Santos Escobar. That was at WrestleMania 40. Ultimately, like it did seem like at that point he was like spinning his wheels, and there were also some bitter feelings of people who believe that Dragon Lee should have actually been in that spot. And there were political machinations to where he was put in. That was the quote there from Meltzer. And that was, he was rather new to the company, well, in his return anyway at that point. And like they were still hoping that something good was going to happen then with Andrade later down the line. But there was also frustration internally that they wanted him to kind of improve on his English, obviously. His English hasn't been great, like historically. I think it's been fine. I don't know. You don't need to be speaking. You can speak in like your own language and still get the point across in WWE. They do all those like backstage promos now where they put the subtitles down there as well. So like it's not the be all and end all, but clearly people were a bit annoyed that like internally that he hadn't improved. Yeah, there were a lot of people, obviously a lot of like talented people there, Meltzer mentions, and he just didn't really get the call to be a bigger star. Maybe that was because of the English not improving or other reasons. He just didn't get that kind of nudge, that push to become that next tier of star. It's interesting, he does mention that Penta came in and he says usurped him as the new generation of like Mexican star, and he was getting better reactions, and like him and Phoenix, or Rey Fenix, whatever it is, they both were getting big reactions when they came in. And obviously he was then put together with Rey Fenix as a team on SmackDown, which was good because like the SmackDown tag division was thriving at that point. There was loads of teams kind of vying for top spots, but that was a spot, as Meltzer put it, with a ceiling on it, and there were like so many teams that were in that spot, like I just mentioned, they're trying to get the attention. He goes into like he notes again about the English. He said that there was frustration that his English just didn't get better. In his time there, he was there for like nearly, is it about 2 years-ish now? Coming up to 2 years, probably at the start of next year. And the English just wasn't improving. One person noted to them that there was buyer's remorse when it comes to Andrade, in the sense that they thought that by bringing him in from AEW, he'd get like similar reactions to what you get from like a Cody Rhodes and CM Punk when they came over. They thought it was going to be huge. But I don't know, like they thought that it was going to be huge because he'd come like directly off AEW TV. I think he had his last match at like World's End, and then he was at the Royal Rumble relatively soon after that, and he'd been in the Continental Classic against really like top talent in AEW. So they were thinking this is going to be huge when he comes in. Like people were going to be wow, and it did feel a little bit big when it happened at the Royal Rumble. I remember going, wow, okay, Andrade's back, cool. It'd be interesting now under this new regime to see what happens with Andrade, how they can book him properly going forward, and it just didn't happen for myriad reasons, clearly. It says the fan base just didn't react to Andrade anywhere near the same level after that initial first day pwap that did happen, and we all went mad at the Royal Rumble. And it was made worse by not coming in with a focused direction, is what Dave mentions there, which is true. I don't think they had a clear plan. It did feel like one of those things where, like I just said, he'd come straight off TV in AEW and they thought, wow, shock value, moments with a capital M, but hadn't gone right. When you're here, for your first 6 months, what's the plan? For the first year, what's the plan? How can we build you into that top level star? On the main roster that you could have always been. You showed that potential to be that, even in NXT. Like you had that there, but it just didn't happen. Maybe is it all the company's fault? Does the talent have to take some responsibility in that scenario as well? Let me know in the comments, really, because it's been one of those really fascinating releases. This where it does feel like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other kind of thing. Both parties are to blame, maybe, in the long run. But this isn't the last that we will hear from Andrade because, well, he's already got his first booking. His first booking since being released from WWE. He's a busy guy. He's like, I'm going to get out there, show my face off a little bit. And his first booking is going to be on October 3rd. So it's not far away, really, which is quite interesting. It says he'll appear, and this is... I think The Crash announced this. I think it was all over social media. So they've announced this yesterday, that he will appear on their Friday, the October 3rd event set for Tijuana, Mexico at the Auditorio Fausto Gutierrez Moreno. The Crash Lucha Libre. I think that's what we're looking at there. That's where he's going to be making an appearance. There's a lovely big poster of him looking all hench on that social media post. So yeah, it's... interesting, this one, because when people get released or part ways from WWE, more often than not, there's a 90-day non-compete, is to the best of my knowledge. I don't know if I missed this over the last week, and it's been noted that you didn't have a 90-day non-compete, but that's very soon after leaving WWE, and there hasn't been an opponent revealed for him on this card. Whether he's going to wrestle or not, we actually don't know. He could just be appearing and just waving his hands. He could just be doing that as well. It's quite interesting, that one, because you do normally, I think 30-day non-competes are there for NXT talent, but I'm sure main roster's always been 90-day non-competes, unless there was weird loopholes in the contracts like Aleister Black's back in the day. But this is odd, and the more I'm looking into this now, I'm like, wow, okay, that's 2 weeks away from the looks of it on my calendar using my brain. So interesting. I may have just missed something completely there. Let me know in the comments if there has been a story out there of Andrade's just not having any non-compete clause, and it's just been one of those mutual things. Maybe because it was it sounds like it was a release to me. It doesn't sound like it was a mutual parting of ways. It sounds like it was a release based on all the information I've seen out there anyway. Could just be making that up in my own brain. So it's an interesting one, that. Really interesting. He's posted some short messages on his social media. He's thanked WWE, thanked the promotion. He's also he had a weird little social media thing with MJF regarding the potential match between those two in CMLL. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know. That could happen down the line. You never know. Right, so moving kind of away from the whole Andrade situation, but still sticking within the WWE sphere, we need to talk about WrestleMania 43. Again, I know it's been everywhere since it was announced a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Again, time is just blurring together for me. So that was the big story. And in the Observer, we've had more information on this as to why at that announcement there was no press, which was an interesting development. In the newsletter, Meltzer says that it had been announced on the 11th of September that there would be a press conference, which was known to be for that WrestleMania announcement in Saudi Arabia, with most of the show details and how it came together being in last week's issue of the Observer, which I think we did cover. I think we went through the Observer's opinions on that last Saturday. So, yeah, he mentioned that, and then he said, but TKO made the decision to not only not allow press to attend a press conference, but not allow fans to attend because fans could possibly have booed the announcement. And with real press in town for the boxing match, there was a possibility of some of them coming and asking real questions instead of soft questions like, oh, are you excited to go to Saudi Arabia? Yay, WWE. So yeah, it sounds like WWE were just a bit scared, to be honest, to have any real press in there or fans because they thought it was just not going to look great and there wouldn't be a great reaction, which probably would have happened, yeah, to be honest, because a lot of reasons why people wouldn't be happy about this event going over to Saudi Arabia. I'm hesitant to call it a smart move by WWE, but in order for optics-wise to kind of protect what they were doing in terms of like selling this big WrestleMania as like a good thing that we're going to Saudi Arabia, like smart then, yeah, on their side of things. But at the same time, when it happened, a lot of us were like, that's weird that they've just dropped it in as like a presentation, but just not fielded any questions or had any fans there for like a reaction or like noise. But that probably would have happened. Yeah, you probably would have had people booing it, because if you're going to announce that in America with a lot of American fans there, they're going to be like, no, we want the American WrestleMania, we want it here. And then, yeah, like the real press being in town for that boxing match, they would not have pulled like any punches. I think I saw some people kind of like firing questions at Dana White during that, because it was the Terence Crawford Canelo fight, wasn't it? I think. My brain's blurring now. Again, it's just been a long week. Been a busy man, okay? My brain's hurting. So I think somebody like fired some kind of straight to the point questions at him, and he was kind of on his toes a little bit in that press conference. So yeah, it probably would have happened if they would have let real press in. But that's, I don't know. I'd like to see more real press in press conferences in WWE, and like WWE just not like in TKO just not hiding away from these things and just trying to actually, you know, address stuff. That'd be nice, and not just treating us all like idiots. That'd be cool. But yeah, this it's kind of something that we assumed anyway. But just there, it's been put in the Observer now that was, yeah, what probably the major reason behind why TKO did that. Moving away from all TKO stuff, but still sticking with WWE in general. A big talented star has not been seen on television since, I think, SummerSlam. It's been a while. And that guy is Gunther. Obviously, he had his match with CM Punk, and they ran that angle in the match where he had his face busted open after being like smashed into the announce desk, and WWE then claimed that Gunther had suffered a septal hematoma. That's the way they worded it, and an orbital blowout fracture. And that wrote him off TV then until now, really. Like it's been a month and a half since we've seen Gunther. But in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, we have had a lot of information from good old Dave today. It said, and he said this with like a single line in the middle of the Observer, Gunther is expected back very soon. So that's after he'd had like a nose issue, and he'd had a surgery on that nose issue. He's clearly in a good spot if he's going to be back soon, and that's good to see. I've missed Gunther. I need a bit of Gunther on my screen right now. I just want somebody to come in and just slap the hell out of everyone and chase back down his world. That's going to be interesting to see what happens when he comes back, because clearly he's going to want his world title back, but the person who beat him for that doesn't hold the title anymore. So what's going to happen? He's just going to get thrown back into that scenario with Seth Rollins and CM Punk. I'd like to see that three-way, just to see Gunther just destroying both their chests. And then now you've got Brock Lesnar back in the mix after that SummerSlam, and it's been said in the past that Gunther really wanted that Brock Lesnar match. Is that going to be something that's going to be put in motion now when Gunther returns? Very interesting stuff. We've obviously got All Out and WrestlePalooza today. Loads of wrestling for all you lovely wrestling fans. So yeah, we'll have, I no doubt, loads of reactions and videos on all the fallout of that as we go. Enjoy it wherever you are in the world. If you're going to sit through and just watch them both like back to back, I think is there going to be a bit of a crossover at one point, like with the end of All Out and the start of WrestlePalooza? I'm not sure. I'll be completely honest, I'll probably watch one like relatively live and then the other one like maybe the next day, because I've got a lot of stuff I need to do in my life. But let me know what your viewing plans are for All Out and WrestlePalooza in the comments, and your thoughts and opinions on all the wonderful news stories that we've had here today. Thank you for putting up with me, even just rambling to myself on my own here for a solid 15 minutes. It's been a lovely start to my morning. I hope it's been a great start to your morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, just do that, and I will hopefully see you very soon. Oh yeah, and subscribe as well. Don't forget to subscribe to all things WhatCulture. Follow myself on Twitter at gmorgan04. Follow myself on Instagram at Gareth Morgram, and then follow my personal fitness personal fitness, personal training account within that, which is at fitness.focus.gm for all your personal training and fitness needs. It's all there as well. I'm going to wrap this thing up now, so I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.